Unwind by Neal Shusterman. No one wants to remember how it really was. There were three sides to the war, not two. There was the Life Army, the Choice Brigade, and the remains of the American military, whose job it was to keep the other two sides from killing each other. Unfortunately, we were not very successful. You see, a conflict always begins with an issue, a difference of opinion, an argument. But by the time it turns into war, the issue doesn't matter anymore, because now it's about one thing and one thing only: how much each side hates the other. There were dark days leading up to the war. Everything we think defines right and wrong was being turned upside down. On one side, people were murdering abortion doctors to protect the right to life, while on the other side, people were getting pregnant just to sell their fetal tissue. I was right there in the room when they came up with the idea that a pregnancy could be terminated retroactively once a child reaches the age of reason. At first it was a joke. No one intended for it to be taken seriously. But that same year, a Nobel Prize went to a scientist who perfected neurografting, the technique that allowed every part of a donor to be used in a transplant. We thought it would shock both sides into seeing reason, and they would stare at each other across the table and someone would blink. But no one blinked. The choice to terminate without ending life, it satisfied the needs of both sides. The Bill of Life was signed, the Unwind Accord went into effect, and the war was over. Everyone was so happy to end the war, no one cared about the consequences. Attention parents. Is your 12 to 17-year-old acting up in school? Is he or she unruly and lacking in manners? Are you at your wit's end? Don't lose your mind. Just sign the order to unwind. For your ease and peace of mind, there are a variety of harvest camps to choose from. Each facility is privately owned, state licensed, and federally funded by your tax dollars. Regardless of the site you choose, you can feel confident that your unwind will receive the finest possible care from our board-certified staff as they make their transition into a divided state. Funny, but the Bill of Life was supposed to protect the sanctity of life. Instead, it just made life cheap. Thank goodness for the Storking Initiative, that wonderful law that allows girls like her a far better alternative. If they catch her, she's obligated to keep the baby. That's part of the Storking Initiative too. But if they open that door and find nothing but the child, it's finders keepers in the eyes of the law. Whether they want it or not, the baby is legally theirs. This time, Risa doesn't hesitate. She runs with Connor, breaking towards the street just as a fire truck bursts onto the scene, sirens blaring. The truck stops right in their path. There's nowhere to run. The fire alarms have mercifully been pulled at the perfect time, and it's gotten them this far, but the commotion is fading. Kids are milling instead of moving, and cops in every direction zero in on the two of them. Outside the hold, the light of day is blinding, and the heat hits Risa like a furnace. The ramp beneath her slopes to the ground, and she has to stare at her feet, squinting to keep from stumbling. By the time she reaches the ground, her eyes have adjusted enough to take in their surroundings. All around them, everywhere, are airplanes. But there is no sign of an airport. The plane rests on a barren, hard pan of maroon earth. Distant red mountains poke up from the ground. They are somewhere in the southwest. Congratulations, you have arrived. Wait, what happens next? How does it end? I could tell you, but then I'd have to unwind you. And when you have that moment when you've reached the end of the book, and you look around feeling empty inside, and you ask yourself, now what? Well, I have the answer. First, read the rest of the series. You will most definitely want to. And when you're done with that, try these. Divergence. Having multiple talents in this world could get you killed. Hunger Games. This is one lottery you don't want to win, because winning can kill you. Matched. The future has merged with the past. And what if you don't want the person who is arranged for you? And what about Uglies? Extraordinarily beautiful is the new normal. But what if you'd rather be yourself?